I've always loved card games. There's something about the back and forth, the tension, the reads. The whole aspect of card games is just beautiful. But lately, I've been noticing the gap between where I am and where I want to be. And I'm starting to notice a real disparity between the best players at my locals and me. The way they think, the way they play, the way they execute, what their deck is supposed to do is just on another level. It started eating at me. Matches that should have been close, they just weren't. I started questioning if I was even improving, and when I win, was it an actual win or was it a fluke? These constant thoughts are always plaguing my mind and making me think that I'm not good enough when it comes to playing this game. Now that I've finished university, I have a lot more time to be able to put into this game. How do I make that time worth it? How do I make every single moment count, every single game count? I think I finally figured out a solution. This is a story about growth. This is a series where I try and become the best version of myself as a One Piece TCG player in hopes of reaching the summit. Hello everybody, my name is Shiryuki and welcome back to another video and another episode of the Reaching the Summit series. It has been a minute. I did not upload the last two. I wasn't really comfortable with uploading them because of the time and what happened throughout them. But quick update, I hate aggro now. I despise yellow, I despise aggro. Own Army, obviously, as you saw in the last actual released episode, I hate that card. That card is awful. And in today's episode, we are going to be heading into a new format. Obviously, OPO 12 is officially out, and this is the first full week of dealing with OPO 12. So there's going to be a lot of new decks, and it's going to be very exciting. Now, a big update, I'm actually going to be going to my first ever Treasure Cup Store Championship that isn't in my local area. I'm going to be heading off to another area to go participate in my first ever Treasure Cup, which I'm very excited to do. Very excited to do the Store Championship because at top 4, I believe, there's a chance to go to Germany. And you know, if I get top 4, that would be really cool. It'd be a really big achievement. But this is more of a learning experience. But we're going to make sure we're going to try our best since it is my first ever card game tournament in about 5 years. So right before the big time skip that we had to deal with. My last tournament I ever played in, it was 2019, and it was a regionals for Card 5. It was a nationals for Card 5 Vanguard, and I placed 72nd out of 328 players. So I have some good credits when it comes to tournaments. But I've never done a One Piece big event for One Piece, and not gonna lie, I'm a bit scared to go into it, and so I've gone with a deck today that I'm going to be wanting to take the Grantham, and I feel the most confident with being Red Green Smoker. Obviously, last time we saw Red Green Smoker on the channel, we actually ended up getting 2 back-to-back wins with the Red Green Smoker, and that's probably why I brought it back. It is the only deck right now that I've actually had a lot of enjoyment with, and I enjoyed playing it. Now, with OPO 12, we got some new cards that we are going to be adding to the Red Green Smoker build. It is a bit different than the one you saw before, and we'll show you the deck list in a second. So we now have access to cards such as the Secret Rare Bonnie, which is a very nice addition to the deck, Dead Man's Game, which is Hody Jones 2, Electric Boogaloo, and Dracula Mihawk. There are some changes that have been made through older cards throughout the deck. It's just going to be a very nice time to see how the deck is going to do today. We've got 2 tournaments this week, obviously Tuesday and Thursday. This is once again just testing. We just want to find out what works well for us, and hopefully we can find out where we will go for the future of these games. Before we get into the main crux of the video, if you have not done so yet, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, be the algorithm gods, and turn on your notification bell so you guys can get notified with a new video coming out. Life has been very interesting recently, and I really just want to be able to produce something that I'm going to enjoy making. Now, getting into the crux and the actual main content of the video, looking at the deck profile, I'm not going to be doing a long deck profile. If you want to see a long deck profile with the deck, I will do it if I enjoy playing it, but I'm going to just be showing you an image of what the deck profile looks like. And what you can see from this deck profile already is there's a lot of changes to the deck, but it still holds the similar values that the deck kind of originally was playing back in the other video that we've done. We've obviously included new cards in this first deck, like the 5-cost Bonnie, which is a very nice addition to the deck. And in this build, Bonnie allows us to actually cheat out more Don, especially since we can do some very cool turns where we're actually getting to untap 4 Don instead of 3, because now we have the addition of Bonnie. As long as we do it in the correct order, where we're not activating the character Smoker first, because then the Bonnie cannot untap a Don because of the character Smoker's clause on the card. But this is the deck I'm going to be playing with. My favorite card in this deck right now is Lukrembo. I've been having a blast running Lukrembo in this deck. It's definitely a card that, you know, it's been always good in the game. You know, it's always been like a decent card in the game. It's been very strong. And I think, especially with how this deck has been playing recently, I've been having a blast trying to run it. You can see the 2 songs that we're playing in the deck. They were 2 deck fillers. Granted, now looking back after finishing the deck, I should have played more copies of the 2-cost Punk Hazard event, because they were better. And one of the new additions to the event category is Spiderweb. We play a lot of blockers, and being able to untap Don is very nice, and that 2k counter can come up. But with all of that being said, we're going to be jumping into today's games, and I hope you guys enjoy Tuesday's matches.
Round 1.
So round 1 on Tuesday, we had one of the younger players. Obviously, we didn't record it, but we were getting Zorro, and the players getting better. You know, they are very new to the game. I'm pretty sure. I think they've only been playing for like maybe a month now, if I remember. I could be wrong, but I have actually played them quite a lot in these tournaments, and it's always in round 1. And it's always nice to be able to see some of the newer players getting better at the game. It is very nice to see. They play Zorro, you know, very good deck for newer players to get into. It's aggressive and it's fast, and he plays pretty well, but we managed to control the board a lot, and we managed to pick up the win, and we are 1-0 up in this tournament.
Round 2.
Getting into round number 2, we are going to be playing against Green Purple Luffy. Now, I played against Green Purple Luffy the week prior, and it was a very close game, but they had a lot of Gungam Giants and Electric Luna, which just absolutely tramples my deck. And going into this game, you know, the deck has a good matchup into it, but the issue is like, I couldn't get past what he was doing. There was like a turn where like his board was like incredibly strong. It was 2 Zorodorus, a Sanji Pudding, and a Luffy Taro. And in my position of like what I had going for me, I wasn't in the strongest position. I tried to go for a risky play where I actually try and go for game on a very early turn. The situation was this: he has 6 cards in hand. I know one of them is a Gungam Giant, and he has no life, right? And he has 1 life, sorry. In my head, I'm like, if I play Hody Jones this turn and rest the Don and another character, he can't use the Gungam Giant, which means he already has a dead card in his hand. So I go for this play, knowing full well that I probably do die the following turn. Go for the play. I didn't really have many swingers that turn. I literally only had my leader, and the leader, the Tony Chopper blocker, and the Hody Jones, because he actually Electric Lunared me. So my Smoker 7-cost Spanish doesn't get to attack, which would have been perfect in this situation, because I would have liked to be able to swing with the Banish first to try and get rid of that last card, as it was a 2k counter, which would have been relevant in that situation. I swing with 1, takes it, it's a 2k counter. I swing with my last attack being Hody for 9, and he blocks it. And at that point, I realized I was dead, and I was a bit annoyed, don't get me wrong. Like, 2 games I've played against this player, and it has been Electric Luna, which has kind of done me in both times. But one thing I've kind of realized now about playing this deck is I think Electric Luna just needs to come into my deck and just try using it in my deck, and that'll be something that I will change for Thursday's tournament. And overall, we're now 1-1. I wasn't really the happiest with that game, but that's just how it goes sometimes.
Round 3.
In round 3, we were up against a green-yellow Yamato player. So obviously, this is one of the new players once again, and they're playing green-yellow Yamato. It is basically just 2 structure decks kind of mashed together, and it went as much as they expected to. He couldn't really do much. He kept adding cards to his life, but I kept banishing them with the 5-cost Smoker. But, you know, I think it's just really one of them games. There wasn't really much he could do throughout the game. It never felt like that I was behind. But like, that's just gonna happen if you don't have the stuff. You know, this is just 2 structure decks put together, and it doesn't have the Hodis, doesn't have the Onamis, you know, it doesn't have the Momo blockers, and I just think there was really much he could have done in this game. But we're now going to be going 2-1 up into the final game, and hopefully we can end on a 3-1.
Final round.
Final game was going to be a rough one. We were up against Kuzan, and I'm going to be real, I'm not the biggest fan of the matchup with Kuzan. The deck just being able to basically spawn a bunch of big bodies means that it's a lot more difficult for me to defend. I like a deck when it comes to like defense, it's not the greatest already, but one thing that we kind of have is the fact that Kuzan does still take a bit of time to set up to get the 8 cost onto the field, which means I'm in a prime position to where I can kind of like start slowly building up my board. And one big card in the deck was Tashiki in this game. There was an instant where a Raging Tiger was used on a Tashiki and the carrot, and I used Tashiki to rest the carrot, the rest of Tashiki to keep the carrot alive, which meant that like I kept freezing his Kuzans a lot, which was very nice to see. And overall, like this game just felt really good. We managed to utilize the Bonnie a bit in this game, have a lot of fun with it, and we managed to get the win. We played 8 cost Kid, and we kind of went into a protect the Kid strategy where we were focused on just defense into the Kid, which 50-50 if that was the correct decision, because obviously a lot of Kuzan's attackers are 8k bodies, which means that like defending the Kid as a whole was going to be a little bit difficult. But overall, we managed to protect the Kid for a really good turn, solid turn, and we actually managed to pick up the win, and it felt really good. We ended up going 3-1. We actually ended up getting 3rd place, I believe, in the end. And this build felt really good, but I kept thinking there was something wrong, obviously, past that Green Purple Luffy game, and I wanted to make some changes to the deck to hopefully make it better, and unfortunately, it didn't. The same day as the tournament, my cards finally arrived. I now have the 4 Garps for Kuzan if I want to play it, the Deadman games, and the Mihawks. And Mihawk is such a good green card, and Deadman game is such a good green card that I wanted to put them in my deck. So I built this whole new variant of the deck. Well, we're playing a lot of the Slash characters now. So we're playing the Perona Searchers along with the Virgo Searchers, and we're playing the Mihawks and the Deadman games. And this is the build I was going to be playing for Thursday. And I'm not going to spoil for how Thursday went, but this tournament was going to be the last Smoker tournament I played. And this tournament made me realize that Smoker isn't what I'm taking the ground from. And you're about to see why. So enjoy the terrible games I had.
Round 1.
So going into round 1 on Thursday, we were actually against the person who got second place on Tuesday, being Green Purple Doflamingo. Bit of an interesting one. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting Green Purple Doflamingo, but like the deck seems alright. You know, Doflamingo got some support back in OPO 11, and it's not the worst support. Like, in all honesty, Sugar actually is not the worst. It wasn't the worst leader. You know, it gave the Green Purple deck a lot of stuff to actually work with, especially just being able to like search 10 cost Dofi and like triple 10 cost Dofi is just incredibly difficult to deal with. This game was good though. It was constant back and forth. Like, we both managed to see a lot of searches. I actually played 3 Toady Choppers throughout this game, which was really funny, and it was going well. There was this one really big play that I did, and I was actually very happy about this play. But he plays the Purple Sugar that searches. He searches top 5, and I know at this point him playing this means that he doesn't have a good hand. He's on the 10 on turn, which means he doesn't have a 10 cost Doflamingo in his hand. He adds the Dofi. And now I'm in a position where my hand is like alright, but it isn't great. So what I actually end up doing, it was a big risk because I actually felt like I was losing this game, especially as the game kept going and going. I played Hody Jones, rested his Diamante blocker, slowly swung with leader, paid 3, played Electric Luna to stun his Diamante and his 2 searchers, and passed. The reason I did this was, I know for that he has 10 cost Dofi in his hand. This Hody Jones that I've just played down is my only ticket of really winning this game. If I swung with that Hody Jones on that turn, it meant that he just plays the 10 cost Dofi, he stuns my leader, and he stuns the Dofi, and there's no possible way that I can win this game at this point, or it'd be a lot harder to win. And so I go for this play, and he seems really confused. It's like, well, why have you just done that? It's just a bit of a weird play. Doesn't play the 10 cost Dofi, swings quite big with both the... And apologies for the camera twist at the end. There was there was some issues that happened. He just swung with the 9 cost Dofi and the leader, and I survived the attack because I had a lot of blockers on the field. And then he actually does misplay. He doesn't put a Don on Diamante to untap it, which means he doesn't have a blocker for the following turn. And at that point, I actually managed to close out the game with this really, like, good play. And I felt good about this deck. I've done testing before it, and I thought this deck was inconsistent, and I was really worried that this deck wasn't going to perform. And after this game, I was like, wait, what is going on? This deck feels pretty good. I'm still 50-50 on the Mihawk because I haven't got to see it, like, once. But, like, I was like, okay, this seems alright. It seems to be going well. Until it didn't.
Round 2.
Round 2, we were up against Bello Betty, and this is what kind of led to me realizing that, like, Smoker wasn't the ideal pick for Grantham. The deck can't facilitate a board fast enough unless it opens really well. It can't facilitate a board to deal with the Betty aggro, and especially since, like, Rayleigh's in the deck and Zoro's in the deck. And they kind of have similar aspects, obviously being different decks. You know, it's very difficult for Smoker to actually keep up. And this game was just the tried and true version. It didn't help my opponent open the absolute nuts against me. He saw triple Karasu, which at that point, like, it's the same as playing 3 Dofis for me. Like, my deck can barely deal with 2 Karasus, but seeing 3 Karasus is pretty nuts. He gets the stage, he gets the 1-cost Betty, and he actually sees 2 Ivankovs. And, like, he had high-rolled me out the blue, and there's nothing I could really do about it, unfortunately. And I actually only dealt 1 damage to him, I'm pretty sure, for that whole game, because I couldn't do anything about it. Like, my positioning wasn't great, and I couldn't really do much about it, and I actually just got destroyed this game. And I'm just like, really, once again, it's a case of me hating aggro, you know, and having to deal with aggro. And it was really unfortunate that we couldn't facilitate this. And then, yeah, my deck just felt awful. I drew 2 10-cost Dofis in that game, and it was the one card, probably the most useless card in my deck, because there was no way, unless I was clearing his board, that I was getting him to 10. I tried to get rid of his board, but I had no way of doing it, which means he kept pushing and pushing and pushing, which resulted in me losing. And yeah, it's quite annoying, I'm not going to lie to you. This deck, I don't know what it is about Betty, but I just seem to struggle into it so much, because my deck has no way of actually clearing the board. And it's quite unfortunate. We go 1-1 down, and I wasn't feeling great at that point either. And to be honest, it only just got worse from here.
Round 3.
Going into round number 3, we were playing against Zorro, and literally, as I've just spoken about, not a great matchup for Smoker. I apologize for the lens blur. I do not know what happened that caused it to be like this. But I played against Smoker a lot, and I started out well with the testing with Smoker, but then they just kind of realized what they were supposed to do, and the games became increasingly harder. Now, throughout this game, it felt quite even. We both saw a lot of searches this game, right? We were both searching a lot. And it was quite even throughout the whole game. I didn't ever feel like it was swaying in one person's way, until I looked at my hand, where his turn proceeded to have just a Hody Jones, a Tashigi, and a leader. Now at this point, he Hody Jones me. I've got 1 block and 1 Don up because I have the Dead Man's Game in my hand. Him resting my 1 Don lost me the entire game, because my hand, I kid you not, was a Hody Jones, Dead Man's Games, 2 10-cost Dofis, and 2 Smokers, I'm pretty sure. It's unreal. Like, how do you, like, you can't make that up. Like, oh, I had Electric Luna, sorry, in my hand. But, like, having so many deck cards in my deck made me realize that this deck just was not good enough, and that the build either needed to change or the deck needed to change. And I saw nothing today. I saw literally nothing, and I was frustrated as hell. And I kind of realized there was a round after this, but I was like, I can't be asked to play with this. So I actually dropped out of the tournament. And this is rare, by the way. I don't normally drop out of tournaments, only because I just enjoy playing the matches, but I was so frustrated today with the fact that this deck has just not done anything today, that I realized that this is not what I'm taking the Grantham. I can't take this to Grantham. It needs to change, and this is officially the end of Red Green Smoker. It had its high, and it's definitely had its low today, which means going forward we are going to be playing something different, and that will be in time for next episode. And we are going to be coming to the end of today's video. I thank you guys so much for watching. It is really unfortunate to have to say goodbye to Red Green Smoker, but I think for me, its time is up. It is now not going to be in the spotlight anymore. And going forward, hopefully we can find a deck that we really enjoy, and hopefully it will be the deck we play for Grantham. And with all of that being said, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and feed the algorithm god. And we are going to be out. My name is Shiryuki, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye, 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 and goodbye to Red Green Smoker.